So, the great and the good of the sporting world gathered for the Sports Personality of the Year Awards last night, and it was England women's goalkeeper Mary Earps who became the third woman in 3 years to scoop the Personality of the Year gong, ahead of England cricketing hero Stuart Broad. But it wasn't long before fans were questioning Earps' eligibility, given that her greatest sporting achievement this year was a dismal 1-0 loss to Spain in the World Cup final. Indeed, legendary ex-football player Joey Barton, who else, weighed in on the controversy today, slamming the awards for honouring someone that hasn't won a sausage, his words, and continuing, to win before Ronnie O'Sullivan and Frankie Dettori, well, that's just madness to me. Both almost genius-like in their respective fields. That's the world we live in. So tonight I am asking, was Earps a worthy winner of Sports Personality of the Year, or has she been rewarded for failure? Let me know your thoughts. Email now, gbviews@gbnews.com. Tweet me at GBNews. And while you're there, make sure you go and vote in our poll. I'll bring you the results very shortly. But to debate this, I'm joined by England's greatest ever goalkeeper, Peter Shilton, broadcaster Anna-May Mangan, and author and journalist Peter Lloyd. Thank you very much for a bumper edition of the Head-to-Head. Peter, I've got to start with you. Do you think that she's a worthy winner of Sports Personality of the Year, or is this tokenism?
No, she got the most votes, and that's what it's all about. You know, the public voted for her, and at the end of the day, you know, I think women's football in the last 2 or 3 years has come on leaps and bounds, but the goalkeeping position was always very weak to me, the weakest part of the women's game. And I think Mary's done a lot to elevate that. You know, I like her style. She shouts at her defence, you know, she encourages people, she gives a few rollickings, she shows a lot of passion. And I think, you know, that is a big part of goalkeeping to me. And, yeah, you know, obviously, I think Andrew Pearce said this morning on his show, you know, that she hasn't won anything. But at the end of the day, you know, the public felt that she was the best choice.
All right, I'm going to go to the other Peter now, Peter Lloyd. Well, what do you think? Is this just outrageous tokenism?
Yeah, I think it is. And I actually think Peter is wrong on that, because he's always quite naive to believe that the BBC is going to be really transparent and not be doing some kind of jiggery-pokery behind the scenes in order to engineer their own outcome, which I suspect is probably what happened. All the people behind Sports Personality of the Year all have an agenda to promote women's football. This was a foregone conclusion. I say, leak the data. Show us who voted in what numbers.
OK, Anna-May Mangan now, it's your turn. You look at the likes of Stuart Broad, who's an absolute titan, Ronnie O'Sullivan, for goodness sake. I mean, these are people that have really won things and really, you know, set records, etc. I mean, Mary Earps isn't in that league, is she?
Who did the public vote for? They voted for Mary, Queen of Stops, as she's known. She's an inspiration. And I'll tell you something, Joey Barton is such a has-been that the kids I know who love football all know who Mary Earp is. None of them have got a clue who Joey Barton is. So what does anyone care what he says? He's so offensive. And he's forgetting that women's football is so popular now among boys and girls and adults, and she's a really worthy winner. People have dissed her so much. After the World Cup final, admittedly they didn't win, but what an achievement to get there. They didn't even make a shirt for her. And when after lobbying they did make her a shirt, it sold out in 5 minutes. So for God's sake, let's give her credit where credit's due. She's popular, she's brilliant, she's inspirational. Go Mary.
All right, Peter Shilton,
No,
I mean, she never got into any men's team you played in, would she?
No, definitely
joking, aren't you?
But there's a big difference between the man's game and the woman's game. Nobody's denying that. But at the same time, the women's game has come a long way. You know, I don't think we can start accusing the BBC of cheating. I think that would be quite
really?
bad, really. I think that
really you don't think we can accuse the BBC of cheating? This is the same organisation.
Right, okay.
This is the same organisation that wouldn't call Hamas a terrorist organisation, and it allowed Gary Lineker to breach impartiality rules all the time. They cannot be trusted.
No.
Oh,
well,
so we're shouting
Anna, right, stop, all of you. Anna, I'll go to you now. Go on.
Yeah, I'm saying, so we're shouting cheat now because a woman has quite rightly won an award. I mean, Joey Barton hasn't even got a job, so why is he criticising somebody who has?
All right, Peter Lloyd, come back to that, because obviously you've made some strong allegations there about the BBC and stuff. I mean, you know, is this just the fact that maybe blokes now can't tolerate a female winner?
100%.
No. I think it's just because you've got a lot of feminist activists, a lot of man-hating feminists at the BBC who are really desperate to push this women's football thing. And it's not really about football; it's about invading male space. They hate that men are worshipped in football. They hate that. It's cultural envy gone nuts. This is their reparations.
All right, Peter Shilton, I'm trying to think about some of the historic Sports Personality of the Year winners. I think the year David Beckham won it, I don't think he won anything, certainly at an international level. Michael Owens won it. He didn't win anything in an international level either. So I suppose there is form for this, isn't there, Peter Shilton?
Yeah, there's form. Yeah, of course there is. And it's a public vote, and that's what it's supposed to be anyway. Beth Mead won it last year. Because obviously he was involved in the England team that won the Euros, you know. So women's football is on the up. You know, there's a big, massive support out there for it for many ways, really. I think it's because, you know, they see, you know, it's a lot cleaner than English football. There's not quite as much, you know, shouting at the referees, although it is coming into the women's game because the pressure of winning is getting greater. But I think overall, yeah, I think the public obviously love the women's game, and their public has grown.
Anna, can I just ask you on this one? Do you think that the women's game has been quite forced onto people, massively over-promoted? We've had female footballers operating as pundits in the male game, and you don't see that reciprocated that much the other way round. You know, is there not a big woke diversity agenda when it comes to pumping out the women's game to us?
Well, when I go to Wembley to watch the women's team play, it's a very big crowd there, no free tickets, and everyone's cheering along, so no. And this win for her is not just about her achievements. Yeah, sure, they didn't win the World Cup final, but I don't remember the men's team being in the World Cup final any time recently. And not only that, it's about her personality as well. People warm to that. And it's about the whole zeitgeist of a new game. So, yeah, I just think the other Peter Lloyd, is it? So I don't know what you're saying. I think what he said about men owning football, you're a dinosaur.
Peter Lloyd, final word to you. Are you a dinosaur? Do you think that we'll ever see another straight white male winner of Sports Personality of the Year again?
No, of course not, because hateful people like Anna or these man-hating feminists, they won't allow it. Oh, and by the way, Anna, you're the eldest on the panel, so maybe you're the dinosaur.
Not my thinking is not as old as yours, so that's interesting, isn't it? How you could be younger and still so old-fashioned.
OK, a good time to draw a line under things. Thank you very much, everybody. A mega head-to-head there, and I'm quite glad that I didn't have to break up a fist fight in the studio.